Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel for another video on Marvel Contest of Champions. Sort of what we're going to be doing is a deep dive into the abilities and what to expect when Annihilus and also Johnny Storm come into the contest next month. Now we're 1 week away from finding out more details about the characters, but I want to give you more of a backstory, talk a little bit about what the negative zone is and Annihilus and as well Johnny Storm, what we kind of look like with potential immunities as well as what to expect from these characters. So let's jump into things. A lot of the information that I'm going to be referencing comes from Marvel Wikia. A link to Annihilus as well as Johnny Storm's information can be found in the description below. And if you want to find out more further details, then do indeed go to these links. But first of all, let's deal with Annihilus. And as it says with the strapline, he is the Lord of the Negative Zone. Annihilus, the living death that walks. But he does fly as well, so it's kind of weird. Okay, let's deal with a little bit of backstory here. So a long time ago in the negative zone, the Titans were seeding life spores. Their ship crashed. They got hit by a meteor. This is on a volcanic planet. So some of these spores, at the point of when they die, they just release these spores into the atmosphere. And one of these spores then become incredibly evolved, mutated, and therefore this mutation of this insectoid kind of creature became Annihilus. Then Annihilus got into the wreckage of the ship and found this special helmet which allowed him to interact with the consoles, download information and gain the cosmic control rod and obviously further body armament, so he is a little bit more powerful. And one thing that he did from that point was he tried to protect his own existence. The same way like an insect, if it grew incredibly powerful, it would look to take on the threats. So you kind of think, right, well, I'm going to squish that bug. No, that bug wants to kick your ass back. And one thing that's incredibly important is the cosmic control rod, which extended his lifespan. So obviously he's going to protect it at any cost. There is a link between that particular control rod and the Fantastic Four. And also that kind of links everything together a little bit nicely. To find out more information about Annihilus, then go to the link in the description below. So what are we likely to expect in game? Well, the dude thinks that he's as powerful as Adam Warlock and Thanos, with the immense cosmic power, especially with enhancements over the period of time of him coming from a small little petty insectoid to then becoming something a lot more powerful. With the extensive altering based on technology, it's fairly likely to assume that this will be a tech, although there would be a shout to say, okay, cosmic control rod, will that be a trigger for him to be a more cosmic? So it's either going to be cosmic or tech, but I feel with more technical advancements, this feels for me more like it will be a tech character, especially if you go down the line of looking at Nebula. But you could have that argument of, well, Gamora was slightly altered, but either or either. Annihilus is very much bound by the cosmic control rod, so it'll be interesting to find out whether or not Command will tap into that element. Something that is going to be incredibly unique is the way that it's talking about here with a cosmic control rod, that he can reverse heat, he can reverse cold, and he can reverse negative effects. So will this be something that we will potentially see? You know, cold snap, frostbite immune, potentially some sort of poison immune, or maybe reducing down of poison. Similar way that Blade shrugs off certain debuff effects. So will that be something that we'll see? I'd like to think that could be a thing, especially with, we've got Johnny Storm coming in. It's a huge incinerate dealer, which we'll be talking about in a minute. But could that be something that the cosmic control rod is able to shrug off debuff effects? Could be quite exciting. There's also some limited run format equipment that Annihilus did possess at one given time. Whether or not Caban will put that in, it would make the character more specific to something here with a story arc, rather than being a complete just generic that he's been put in. So we'll look to see about that in any case, but it just means that it's for like doomsday weapons, it's for like an army that he was raising. I don't think they'll tap into much of this and just stick to the core subject. But with the addition of Nick Fury this month, is this going to mean that we'll see something along with this? We had life model decoy, so when Nick Fury's down, he gets back up again. Will we see this with Annihilus, but will we see it with a bit more punch to it? I was hoping with Mr. Sinister that we'd see some kind of persistent charges going from battle to battle where he could be reborn if he is then dead, or maybe up to full health, but we got that with sort of regeneration from that character. However though, Annihilus is one of those characters that should receive a good amount of rebirth each time if he is knocked down, and I'd love to see this. And also where we've got Fear the Void, and fear that's been associated with Void as a character. Will we indeed see something similar or replicated with Annihilus when it comes to causing fear to enemies? Annihilus is meant to be one of those enemies that is absolutely devastating. He's meant to be like Annihilus is meant to be one of the biggest, baddest enemies out there in the Marvel Universe. So it would be quite exciting to see what is next for this character. Even like saying that in the future, like an MCU type villain, that would be absolutely amazing to see it. And what we're going to experience in game is hopefully something that is going to be a challenging boss, but at the same time, if you get him as a champion, could be an absolutely solid champion to go up against any enemy. But more than likely this will be tech, but I feel because it's a prior cosmic entity, they could be just put as a cosmic. But I feel stronger addition to the tech line because cosmic does have some strong champions at the moment. Flame on, and now it's time for Human Torch. Now, a lot of you will be very familiar with Human Torch, especially because there's been 2 films and 2 different types of portrayals. And kind of weird because both actors that have played Johnny Storm have then gone on to do future Marvel movies. First of all being Chris Evans, who then went on to be Captain America. Michael B. Jordan did another portrayal and then went on to play Killmonger in a future film. But also, if it turns out that Chris Evans dies in Avengers Endgame, then it will be the curse of the Human Torch. For everyone that plays a Human Torch, goes into a future Marvel movie and dies. There are many story arcs associated with Johnny Storm, but let's just say in short that due to a space flight, he was exposed to cosmic radiation and turning him to some kind of flaming monster. If you did want to learn more about the character, a link is in the description below. It'll tell you a few stories about what he has been up to, but the name of the game is the abilities. Let's have a look at them. First and foremost, appearance. How will this really work in game? It'd be nice to see that he could switch between different modes, and we'll talk about some different types of modes in a second, but the idea that he could be in more of a humanoid form, but able to kind of shift into a different kind of flame on form, that would be pretty cool to see in game. The plasma form aspect does impress me, especially with the ability to avoid projectiles or say like gunfire or things being thrown at the character, that he can go into kind of like a mist-based form, similar to Hood and similar to Ghost. So if you've got like Punisher shooting projectiles, then all of those miss. That would be incredibly cool to see. But also, let's just not completely write off the fact that flames and pyro and things that are plasma based are going to be able to be emitted against enemies. So we're going to see lots of energy based attacks and also maybe some incinerate damage, a huge amount of it to be exact. Also, where will be the state and form of pyrokinesis? So the fact that he could create shapes and things from that, will Kabam look to put that in? This is going to be a real mean feat. Like, are they able to pull this off completely? And it'd be quite exciting to see what we're going to see next week. Also, Nova Flame. This is something as well as the Omega level kind of damage that the character can put out. Now, I'm not saying like Omega based on Iceman, that we will talk about that because a lot of people have kind of said to me, well, Rich, will Iceman win in a fight against Human Torch? People have already had that discussion before, and I'll put a link in the description for people that want to talk about that. We'll go there in a moment, but it's going to be exciting to see how much of the power with incinerates, with plasma damage, will they have something plasma damage in comparison to Havoc? Because as we know, Havoc does plasma damage. Also, Iron Man Infinity War does something similar. And I feel that a lot of the time, Kabam do a lot of the kind of like building month in and month out. We've got this kind of idea of resurrection from the dead and huge amounts of regen with Mr. Sinister, Nick Fury, and now we've got Annihilus. And also the same thing with Iron Man Infinity War to a degree, but Havoc fairly recently, and now we've got Johnny Storm coming in. So a lot of the times it's kind of like building foundations for them trying out certain things. So it could be really exciting to see the extent of damage that this character could output. Also, we're going to see the immunity to fire and heat. That seems pretty darn obvious. Also, somebody has put together a fantastic little kind of write-up. This was done a long time ago about the fact of like Iceman versus Johnny Storm. The big kind of point it comes to is that because Johnny Storm requires oxygen, that he is starved of that by the point of the usage of the immense amount of ice. Like, it's just a constant and very quick and fast delivery of ice from Iceman. So would it be a case that the champion would be completely engulfed in ice? Yes. And would he be able to use and go to a heated source very quickly? Doubt it. He has to possess a lot of energy, so it would be a case of just be like constantly firing, constantly bringing him down with ice and starving of oxygen. So it would be a case Iceman will win. But read the full article, but have your say on that. I'm sure people will come up with other articles saying that Iceman could be defeated by Johnny Storm. I think it just goes to a point that they say that Iceman could definitely override a lot of heat. So have a look, and obviously have your say if you disagree with this. Also interesting to see the Cosmic Control Rod making an appearance in some sort of shape and form. So that could play a part in what we're going to see in next month's event. So yeah, really excited. I do have my feelings that this will be a science character in conjunction with the others. It make more sense for it to be cosmic, as we know, and we've talked about this before back in January. But I think it'd be better for all of us to see 4 sciences, or it's a case of going, right, well, 2 sciences, 2 cosmic, but we'll wait to see next week to see what happens. In any case, hopefully you enjoyed these deep dives into these 2 characters. If you enjoyed this video, then hit the like button and subscribe for more Marvel Contest of Champions based content. Which character are you really excited to see? Personally, I know a lot about Johnny Storm from like films and other stuff that I've read. I'm a little bit excited for Annihilus and thinking like, where could Kabam go with that character? Also, I'm kind of like, I'm loving my Iceman at 565 now. I literally could just like hug him now. I'm thinking like next month you're going to be so valuable for me. Hopefully there's a case that you know, Kabam do justice to these characters, in particular the Fantastic Four ones. So yeah, we'll probably have to wait another 4 months and then a further 4 months for the final characters. But very excited to see where Kabam could go with this. So yeah, thoughts in the comment section. I've been Rich the Man. Make sure to like, share and subscribe, and I should catch you in the next one. Bye bye for now.